Since about 2002, the term internet friends has kind of become part of our vocabulary. Now, I'm not sure about you guys, but I've kind of been making friends on the internet for a really long time, which I know is kind of, even to this day, a little bit considered as being taboo. As a kid, you're taught to be very careful about what you say and do on the internet, to not really interact with anyone else. There's the potential of like the pedophiles and people who are gonna like kidnap you and stuff if you try to meet with them in real life. So when I first got a computer at my mom's house, I pretty much stuck to just playing Digimon and stuff on my computer. But when we got a computer at my dad's house, I was about 11 or 12, and I read this one kids magazine, and they kept advertising their message boards in their magazine. So when we finally got the computer at my dad's, I signed up for an account and kind of just started chatting with a bunch of other kids in Canada. It was great. I was always very cautious about what I said and like tried not to really make anyone aware of who I was or anything, because I was still in the stage where I was having teachers and parents and commercials coming at me saying, don't do this on the internet, like, be safe. But at the same time, I was becoming really close with some of these people and I wanted to get to know them better. So I added a few of them on MSN, and I don't know, we chatted a lot, and that was pretty fantastic. By the time I hit about 14, 15 years of age, I stopped really caring about whether or not people knew who I was. I started kind of posting pictures, I got Facebook, and just did a lot of other things, and I just didn't really care if anyone knew who I was because I'm just a person. I was definitely a lot more open with my friends that I had made on the internet. Of course, whenever my parents asked me who they were, I used the age-old, oh, that person, they went to my school, but then they moved to Ontario, so we're just keeping in touch, which I'm pretty sure everyone between the ages of like 13 and 18 has used at one point in their life. Just because, I mean, foolproof. Don't let your parents watch this, kids. I'm sorry. But when you bring up the phrase internet friends to an adult family member, they seem to think of it as being really illegitimate. Like, something about the fact that you got to know this person online instead of face-to-face seems somehow less real. But it's not. You've still developed a really strong friendship with someone regardless of whether or not you started chatting with them anonymously or whether or not you've met them face to face. No matter what, I think making friends is always really difficult, obviously. If you go back and see that social anxiety video I made, I have real difficulty making friends. But at the same time, part of me finds it a lot easier to develop friendships over the internet just because I'm not quite as concerned about what people think of me on there, because I'm pretty out there on the internet, which I'm not in real life. I'm quite recluse and quiet and stuff. So there's always seemed to be quite a distinction between friends that you've met online and friends that you have in your city that you made at school or at work. And I don't know, I don't really see much of a difference. I personally have found that I've built some of my best relationships with people who I've met online. Sure, those people that I met on message boards when I was 12, I'm not really friends with them anymore. But that's because we were all growing up, and people change as they grow up, and we just kind of drifted apart. It's sad, but the friendships that I made with those people were pretty fantastic at the time, and I really enjoyed speaking with them. But now I've got a few other people that I chat with online. I just don't think that because you've met someone online rather than in person doesn't make them any less of a friend. It just doesn't really seem fair to make that distinction. It's always nice to get to meet these people. I personally have not really met up with anyone that I met strictly online before, although last year I did kind of start up the idea for a Nerdfighter gathering in our city, and I have met a lot of great people through that. But the relationship that I do have with those people, I've built with them online just because we don't really have the chance to see each other that often. And even though I do kind of know them in real life, I would consider them more as internet friends than anything else because that's how I got to know them the most. When I first met them, I didn't talk to a lot of them there. I kind of talked to the one friend that I knew, which I think is what everyone did. They made sure that they knew at least one person who was going to be there and they interacted with that person. It seemed that once we had all left, the people that you found to be the most interesting you added on Facebook or Tumblr or Twitter, or even subscribed to them on YouTube. In this day and age, I don't see a point in making a distinction between internet friends and friends that you've got in your city that you interact with day to day. I think they're kind of becoming the same thing now. I mean, most of the communication that we do in general is online or through text. We don't speak to each other a lot. I want my parents to stop judging me when I tell them that I'm going to go and have a Skype conversation with someone that I met on Tumblr or something, because they're really wary about that. And I mean, they have a right to, because they still believe all that stuff where you shouldn't give out any personal information online, which is true, you really shouldn't, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to be friends with some people. But for the most part, I think it's safe to say that I'm closer with a lot more of my friends I've met on the internet than I am with people I know in real life.